so it's so lemony.
Okay, I won't use as much lemon.
It's
next
right
time.
there. It's like in my mouth. Like have some water to go with your lemon. You know what I mean? Like that's how it feels. I don't taste no f***ing honey either. It's just lemon. It's so tart.
But is it coating your throat?
I don't know. I can't. As soon as it hits my tongue, my whole insides go. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not sure. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today, we got a detailed look and breakdown on the Nike Air Max DN8. And I will say it's a shoe that I think is a little bit more impressive than the original DN, which is a derivative of previous Air Max stuff, but we'll talk about that later. Now, before we deep dive into these guys, we do have a quick word from today's sponsor, and that's the good folks over at Serious Player Only. Serious Player Only wanted us to remind you guys that they have a brand new, amazing midsole, which is this bad boy right here. This is the Quick 2.0. This fits inside of every single model that they sell, and they're currently available right now. This is an ATPU foam. It's got a built-in EVA arch plate. This thing is super lightweight, ultra durable, and very bouncy. Tons of impact protection while still allowing to give you plenty of court feel. Plus there's this top liner right here that allows for your socks to really grip. I don't like it when they don't have anything there, and this one does. Again, these are available right now over at Serious Player Only. We'll have a link down below in the description box. It'll send you over to their website where you can check it out. You don't have to buy a pair of sneakers if you want this. So if you already own something from the brand, all you've got to do is just buy this thing and you got an instant upgrade. And yes, it's my favorite midsole yet. It's awesome. And with that being said, the box and the paper that this shoe is wrapped in is probably like my favorite thing about the shoe, which I know doesn't sound great, but what was I talking about? The Pegasus Premium? And I was just like, hey, for this premium price, you should get a little bit premium packaging. You know what I mean? And so, while I won't say that this is premium, I will say that it's got the flavor of things all over the place. You got the Air Max depicted there, the name of the shoe. I love this. This is sick. Old school iconic branding, I love it, but the paper is by far the best thing that comes with these. This is what I'm talking about when we talk about shoes with new tech or new style of tech. This right here is the coolest fucking thing of all time. It just is. Even on a shoe that I think maybe sucks, which this is not that. I'm just trying to like give you guys a good analogy where it could be any shoe. And as long as this comes with it, I'm already instantly impressed. Basically, this is like a window into the soul of what went on to create the damn thing. And I think that keeping that at the forefront of your product, especially when presenting it to the consumer, aka when they open that box for the first time, it's right there in your face. How? Basically, this thing is a tech pack, or very similar to what a tech pack looks like. It's got the design on there, it's got the tech implementation, it's got exactly how everything's laid out. There is no surprises here. It even allows you to see the air units full blown, and I don't mean like full blown of air, I'm talking about like out of the shoe and stuff like that, where they're showing you where the tubes are that connect each chamber. They're showing you which ones have high pressure and which ones have low pressure. It's fucking fantastic. Hats off to whoever decided to put that in there. I don't know why this isn't already done. Every pair of shoes got paper in it. Just print some shit on there. Y'all already got the drawings and the designs, the CAD designs, all that stuff, it's already there. So why this isn't done more often, I'm not sure, but anybody that does it should get a big ass round of applause because it's amazing. Now, are the shoes as amazing as that paper? I mean, maybe, you know what I mean? I don't think that they're quite as amazing, but I will say that this definitely feels better than the first DN. I think they look a little bit better too. Although those weren't ugly or anything. They were kind of like clean design. It was just a repurposed design. The same thing here. Very much Air Max 96 vibes, which some people might love. Some people might be like, bro, come up with something new. To which I would say, right. Like, you guys are designers. Design something. Don't reiterate something. Design something. Do it. Now, I don't think that they're bad looking by any means. I think that they're actually really clean looking. This colorway may be great for some people, maybe not. I don't know, that's up to you. All I know is that the outsole is kind of weird. It definitely reminds me of the old school days of tuned air from Nike. So these little red dots right there usually would depict the tuned air, or at least where the air was tuned. Not technically tuned, but that's where the support pillars were located. That's not the case here. There's no support pillars. So I don't really know what that's supposed to be really pointing towards. All I know is that maybe it's pointing towards like the DNA of Air Max. Who knows? That's kind of how I took the whole DN8 thing at first. I was like, oh, they really pulled from all these different Air Max things. And then it dawned on me. I was like, oh, it's a DN8, like 8 bubbles.
Light bulb.
But anyways, the outsole, it is what it is. It's not only reminiscent of that tuned air stuff, but it also kind of reminds me of the Air Max 95, like the bottom, that whole centerpiece where it talks about like the PSI levels and stuff like that. So again, I don't know if this is really pointing towards the previous Air Max models of the past, but I can't help but think about them when I see all of the stuff all over this shoe, including the outsole. One of the weirdest parts though is just the way that it's, what would you call this? Like wavy? Basically, it sits right on top of the air units perfectly, and it really allows the air to be more dynamic, hence the name, the dynamic air. So having all of that rubber on there, doing the whole cage or cradle thing, it's interesting. It's gonna make everything very durable, but at the same time, it does mute the compression of the air units just a little bit. Not a ton, but just a little bit. However, the midsole is shaped very similarly to the outsole itself, where it's again cupping the air units that are housed inside. That's basically a Phylon or an EVA. Feels fine. I don't think that it's like anything crazy. It's a little firm, but it's got enough bounce to it. Luckily, again, there's all of these like dynamic air tubes. And so while you're in that rocker motion from heel to forefoot, you do feel it a little bit. Speaking of all of that stuff, everything in between, again, is dynamic air. And dynamic air is something that current Nike or modern day Nike is stating is state of the art. It's brand new, but that it just isn't the case. Much like the design along the upper, the air units here are repurposed or retooled. They're not identical to the original Nike tubular air, but it's so similar, it's scary.
Wow.
So in this case, we've got two Air Max DN units. We've got that 4-pack in the back, and then we've got a 4-pack in the front. Obviously, they all kind of like transition or taper off from, you know, its highest point in the heel to its lowest point in the forefoot. And then as depicted on the paper that it comes with, these two tubes right here are connected in the middle, much like these two tubes are connected in the middle, and then same with the forefoot. So these two are connected, and then two of those units are gonna be lower pressured than the units before or after it. So it's really interesting the way that it's got it set up. So basically they want it to feel dynamic underneath your feet. So when you are walking in stride or maybe running, if you happen to want to run in these, and I will say that they did emphasize that it's not specifically a running shoe, but it's not for running.
Right.
Now the upper, like I was saying before, is very reminiscent of the Air Max 96. I, again, don't know if that's like purposeful or if it's an accident and they just don't know that they did this before, but like either one wouldn't surprise me. The materials themselves are nothing like the Air Max 96, so that's the one thing where like it is different. This is definitely modern day construction where it's all cheap textile all throughout. You've got kind of like a thicker, more durable material on the top layer, and then you've got a more breathable material, real thin and stuff like that. It almost looks like it's TPU threads, and that's underneath, and then they're all heat welded or hot meld fused together, and that makes up the upper. The eye stay area is kind of interesting. It's supposed to mimic suede, but it's still a fused material. However, my favorite part is actually in the heel. It's the heel counter. Not only is it reminiscent of Kobe's, but I love the logo back there. Like, I love this style of Air Max or Nike Tech era anything. They did this with all kinds of different air units, whether it was Air Max or it was Zoom Air and all of that stuff. There was one of these types of logos for all of it, and it was so cool. It was such a fun time in footwear, and I love that they're putting that on here. The tongue is interesting because it really reminds me of the Air Max 95, kind of like the outsole. Like, I don't know if that's what they were going for, but it's what it reminds me of. The logo is similar, and so is the structure of everything, all the padding and protection zones. And then something for all of you reflective lovers, there is some reflective hits right here on the eye stay area, and that Air Max logo on the tongue is also reflective, which I think is pretty sick looking because it's pink, but still reflective. And just in case you're wondering, this is the insole. I do not think that this is a piece of shit. This is actually a Durapontex insole. This is very common in performance footwear, or at least it used to be. So I was kind of surprised that it was in here. Again, this is not strictly lifestyle, but it's also not labeled as performance. It's supposed to be like kind of either or, depending on what you want to use it for. Now, as far as fit is concerned, they do fit true to size. I will say that they're slightly narrow, but not anything crazy. If you are a wide footer, definitely try them on just in case. I do feel like a lot of wide footers might want to go up half a size just to give yourself some room, but most people going true to size should be good to go. But with all that being said, what is today's question of the day?
Besides the Joker, who do you think is the most sinister Batman villain?
The most sinister? Can I get a definition?
Giving the impression that something harmful or evil is happening or will happen.
There's a few that come to mind, but it's the Riddler and the Mad Hatter. But if we're talking about like, because like I don't feel like, is the Joker sinister?
Maybe they meant like the baddie of the baddies.
Yeah, the baddest bad guy
Yeah.
besides the Joker.
Yeah.
Not necessarily sinister.
Yeah.
This is gonna be weird sounding, but maybe Scarface.
The puppet?
The pup, he's crazy. The fact that some dude got his hand up a puppet, he will slap the shit out of himself. There's points in the book specifically where like you don't know if that fucking dummy is like really alive and like demonic or something. Like the creep level there is like really high. It also depends, this is the whole caveat to all of this stuff with like when we're talking about nerd shit, is it depends on who's writing it. They can all be this. Sometimes it's Bane. Sometimes it's Freeze or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like Clayface could be like that, or Clayface could be super doofusy and shit like he is in Harley Quinn. So it just really depends on how the writers decide to play in that sandbox. So I guess that would be, do you have one?
I took mine from a more realistic standpoint, like which bad guy I'd be scared of like actually happening.
It wouldn't be Scarface?
I just don't see it being possible. But the Scarecrow?
Ooh, that's a good one too.
So
that actually might be the answer. So thank you. But yeah, that guy is a loose cannon and he's crazy. And the way that he is in the Arkham games is disgusting because like he uses needles. That's not sanitary.
Okay.
Like he injects you with that shit. That's But what about you guys? Sound off below and let us know which Batman villain besides the Joker, if you have multiple answers for multiple reasons, kind of like the way that I did, feel free to do that. On top of all of that, sound off below and let us know what you think about the Nike Air Max DN8 in the comment section. I would love to know your guys' thoughts. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Hopefully I feel better in the next one because this was a rough one. So yeah, thank you once again. I'll catch you guys soon. So until then, y'all have a good one.